Ah! Did I scare you? Alright. So. Boop. Hello. It's me. I have my volume on my laptop on. So most people are probably going to see this before Halloween. Whatever. I know I'm a little late to the party. It's already 11:25 for me, and for some people, it's already past that. So yeah, happy Halloween for the people that are still on Halloween, and happy Halloween to the people that I didn't get to do much with today. First we got Moose, which is also someone that I used to know, which would be Decoy. Welcome, Decoy. Hello. And we're gonna go ahead and start playing this game. It literally told me this game is for 18 people. Or 18 people. This game is for 18 people or old. I cannot English. This game is for people that are 18 years old. And it scared the fuck out of me. Just by the title screen saying that. So press any key to continue. We will continue. Okay. The front door clicks shut. You hear keys in the lock, a car's engine, the car pulling out of the driveway onto the street into the distance. Hold your breath, look out the front window, turn off the TV. You look out the front window, leaves blow across the driveway, neighbors pass by unaware. The car is definitely gone. You smile. Turn off the TV. You turn off the TV. The couch feels nice below your tired morning body. Morning? Usually you like watching TV. Not today, though. Something else is on your mind today. Now I can only hold my breath. You hold your breath, the hum of the room, a neighbor's dog, the clock on the wall, no parents. Head to the computer room. Oh boy. Halloween birthday, Wolf on 21. Oh, you? You're 21? No way. Well, happy birthday, Decoy. Damn. Boot up the computer. Oh, that's so loud! Is that loud for you guys? I'm going to turn that down a little. Oh, I got rid of the whole... Okay. I'm going to leave it there. It's pretty loud. Okay. A Seemingly Pointless Game by James Earl Cox III. Joe Cox and Julie Buchanan? I don't know. Something like that. Okay, open America Online. I forgot the internet sounded like that when you were back in those days. So this is a retro style kind of horror game. Dude. Russian President Boris Yeltsin survives impeachment. You open America Online, you've never done this before, and sign in. You only heard about it from kids at school. You click on the search bar, overwhelmed with curiosity, and you type porn, people doing it, sex, or fourth base. I don't know what it's gonna show. It's probably not gonna show much because it's like retro. I searched porn when I was a kid. Just those words. Okay. You got xxxxxx.com, porntub.com, pleasurehouse.com, freesex.com, cumtons.com, wetzoneforever.com, and 69andotherpics.com. Let's go there, because it has 69 in it. It's loading. Warning. Attention. Use virus blocker to save your computer. Okay. You can sort of see something there. The site opens at the top of is a picture of two naked people. They're closer than you've ever seen two naked people be. Their eyes are closed and their faces look funny. Below. What was that? Look behind you! Fucking no! There are below are a number of links with strange names. Oh my god! I've never been scared by moaning! Look behind me. The door is mostly closed. You hear the pipes creak. The computer hums to itself. Your secret's safe with it. You breathe out, shaking slightly. I'm gonna cry! Turn back to the PC. Quit while you're ahead. Turn back. Okay. Look behind you. More of this missionary. The door creaked open through the gap. The hallway looks clear. You breathe in, breathe out, shaking slightly. Dive deeper. Quit while you're ahead. You peer at some of the ads on the sex website, trying to glean for meaning, something you can understand. Do you understand? Do you want to? What? I can click here. Do you want to understand? Do you even like the stuff? It's kind of gross. You think about all those pictures, everything looking sweaty and gross and medical. Hospitals are already creepy. You don't want to think about hospitals full of naked adults. Keep going. Whatever. You scan the page and take mental notes. POV, striptease. Okay. Let's do that. Look behind me. Okay, still the same. Turn back to the PC. Strippers. Woo! Ooh, those are boobs. Okay, more of this. More of this. I'm scared. I don't want to look behind me. Ah, this is making me fucking paranoid. Ah! You spin around. A loose book on your shelf fell face down. That was close. You shake slightly. You'll be more careful from now on. Dive deeper. Quit while you're ahead. Dive deeper. You debate if you should look deeper. There's so much to look at. How much porn is there? You can't remember all of what you've already seen. Or you've seen already. Can you see all porn? Do you even know what to see more porn? Do you even want to see more porn? I'm not quitting yet. That was enough for now. I'm not quitting yet. We're gonna keep going! Anal. Sure. German. What? More of this. More of this. Oh shit! Time to still turn the driveway. You wait until the car is definitely gone. Okay. 3 close calls. That's a lot for one day. What time is it? You're still alone in the house. You don't know how much time you have left. Is it worth sneaking in a few more pictures? I can do it. I'm scared. Oh, the stuff I'm into. No. Furry? Ah! Harder. Oh my god! Turn off computer. I'm done. You sit there for a moment, heart still pounding, eyes wide open. You've had enough sex looking for today. You end up back on the couch with the TV on. What a strange day. You don't know how to feel. You've seen some things. Some to share, some you won't. At least you didn't get caught. I can't do anything.
This game is intended for mature audiences.
My fucking god. Okay, that was the end of that. Okay, that's not long enough. We have to look a little more into this. So I'm gonna go ahead. Whatever. I'm getting demonetized for this. And probably reported. The front door clicks shut. You hear the keys lock. Yeah. Car engine. Car pulling out of the driveway. Onto the street. Into the distance. Hold your breath. You pass out. The end. Sound of the TV. Neighbor's dog. The clock on the wall. No parents. Turn off the TV. Turn off the TV. I'm pretty sure it's the same. You like watching? Not today though. Something else on your mind today. Look out the front window. He's blow across the driveway. Neighbors pass by unaware. The car is definitely gone. Chill. Head to the computer room. Boot the computer up. Open America Online. Huh. You open America Online and sign in. You click the little search bar. Overwhelmed with curiosity. You type fourth base. Okay, it's the same thing. Let's go to PornTub. Just like PornTube or whatever. Your wife doesn't love you. Ah! I'm fucking scared.
Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
Wait, okay. Sign up today. No, it doesn't work. Whatever. Look behind you. I haven't looked behind me like right away before. The door's mostly closed. You hear the pipes creak. Computer hums to itself. Your secret's safe with it. I heard breathing. Oh, you breathe out. Was that my breathing or? Is that SAF outside? Whatever. I'm just gonna keep clicking things until something happens. Look behind you. Time stands still. It's just a car turning around in your driveway. They can't know. Can they? You wait until the car is definitely gone. I'm not waiting until the car's gone. You peer at some of the ads on the sex website, trying to leave for meaning, something you can understand. What was that? Do you want to understand? Do you even know? I like this stuff. All the big kids think it's cool. You do feel funny. It's a weird feeling. Kind of everywhere, but not. It's kind of upsetting, actually. What does it mean? You don't know what to do. Keep going. I don't care. Scan to page, take mental notes. Da 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 da. And you type. Let's just keep clicking on these. The door creaked open. Through the gap, the hallway looks clear. You breathe in. Breathe out. Shaking slightly. Dive deeper. Wonder what happens if I get caught. You debate if you should look deeper. There's so much to look at. How much porn is there? A lot. I'm not quitting. I'm never quitting! Oh. Oh boy. It seems like there's more things that happen when you click, like, show me more of this. So I'm gonna keep clicking show more, and then something will happen. I forgot that happened already. Look behind you. You spin around. A loose book on the shelf fell face down. That was close. You shake slightly. You'll be more careful from now on. Dive deeper. 3 close calls. That was a lot for one day. What time is it? You're still alone in the house. You don't know how much time you have left. So we're sneaking a few pictures. I could do it. Now, this porn seems different. We know what one we're clicking on. And we're not clicking on that one. I'm sure it's gonna happen anyway. But, you know, more of this, more of this, more of this. More of this. My God!
Harder, harder.
You jump in your seat. Oh, crud. You have to do something. Close the browser, unplug the computer, turn off the monitor. Close the browser. You sit there for a moment. Heart still pounding. Eyes wide open. You have to have sex looking for today. Is that all there is? Oh, you end up back on the couch with the TV on. This is new. What a strange day. You don't know how to feel. You've seen some things, some to share, some you won't. Did we end with that? At least you didn't get caught.
This game is intended for mature audiences.
Is that the whole thing? Like, if it is, then we're gonna find another game real quick. Let me look up something real quick. Or older to enter game. By seemingly pointless. I don't know. Those were two of the same endings. I couldn't do anything else. Endings? There's been a few people that have played this apparently. My mother loves screaming, doesn't she? Like, there has to be more than that. I just feel like there's more than that. I don't know. I think we had enough of that game. Let's see. Well, it's a few minutes before Halloween is officially over. Let's see. You know what? I don't have those downloaded, so let's go ahead and I'm gonna do that in a different thing. Let's go ahead and go back to Lake of Voices. If you remember the game that we played, I streamed it also. We got probably one of the worst endings. We basically died. So let's go ahead and restart, and if you want to, you know, get the whole, you know, if you want to get the whole story and everything without me skipping it, go ahead and take a look at my first episode of Lake of Voices. I'm going to go ahead and edit the title here to put both names on it, because that first game, that was confusing. Alright, edit. Order, flash. Alright. So let me put it where you can see. I'll make sure you can see it. There it is. Okay. So, we died and we got the last person killed as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start another game. So, you have choices. Basically, you have to survive this kind of story. But yeah. Yeah, so basically we're going to meet a person. Oh. What did we pick last time? I was being nice to him, I think. I'm gonna say nothing. Remain like thoughts. Not another word passes between us. Eventually smiling appears. Yeah, skip. I believe we should go. Say nothing. The guide approaches Bemil and me before I have time to sort out my thoughts.
You will stay.
What?
You would have already decided to come if you had the proper mindset for a journey such as this.
But you don't understand.
The guide raises a hand to me, eyes cold. My words die in my throat. If he decides we aren't fit to cross, how could we persuade him otherwise?
This is bullshit. We are more than equipped to make this journey, and we know
Monster
more
Jam
of
is
what
on
it means
TV.
to be in danger than most
Cool,
will know
Jimmy.
in all their life.
Huh.
You two will stay.
Emil's muscles tense, and I put a hand on his arm. He trembles slightly beneath my fingers, his hands curling themselves into fists, but he doesn't say another word. The guy turns around and heads onto the bridge. Margaret uncomfortably looks from the guide to us.
Goodbye.
She stepped onto the bridge after him. Bemil sighs, the anger releasing from him as they disappear into the fog.
Farewell.
Wow. We're by ourselves right now. Be safe. We reached Hemmer safely, though it took much longer than we would have liked. Much of the village had been damaged or even destroyed. It was my fault for taking so long. I did all I could to aid them in defending their town and repairing what could be salvaged. Bemil was disheartened by how little assistance we were able to provide. However, he could not deny how fortunate we were to both have made it at all, especially after we caught wind of the report given by the guide to the elders for that night. Every village close enough to Sinlos gets informed on what occurs in that lake. He does so because communities wish to be made aware if they have lost one of their own. This time, his news was the death of a young woman. The one we spoke to, Margaret, is gone. So she dies in this one too? I have not heard nor seen the guide myself since then. I must assume he is still there on that foggy shore, waiting for desperate souls to seek out his light, so they may cross the lake of true darkness. Although I regret that I was not able to do more to protect these people. No one admonishes me for it. They seem sure that I did everything possible. I hope that is true, even if I cannot bring myself to believe it. Soon Bemil and I will return home, and we will once again take the long way around. My once peace in all. Apparently I have another ending like this fast. My one piece in all of this is that Sinlos will be far behind me in a matter of days. I intend to keep it there. Like a voices. Alright, end of stream. Gravedigger's my favorite monster truck. Bro, same. I literally have a monster truck over there hiding somewhere. Okay, that was another ending of Lake of Voices. Let's get back into this, and, yeah. You're quite informed, Margaret.
It's been years since the time of Garvin the Exemplar. It's impressive you knew.
Margaret smiles, lifting her chin into the air. The over-exaggerated action is somehow pleasant, rather than belittling. She's so much happier than I had anticipated.
Yes, I do like to stay informed. And you knew too. Good. This lake shouldn't be allowed to swallow even history itself.
My town, the one where I was born at least, was also Garvin's hometown. I was very young when he passed. The entire village went into mourning.
Was it an
People
afternoon?
broke down crying in the streets. I'll
Rip.
never forget it. He meant much to everyone who knew him.
Oh, I have no such connections. I merely read about it.
She pauses, seeming to scan the air in front of her for something to say.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It's all right. Thank you.
My town may have taken pride in Garvin, the exemplar, whatever, and what he achieved, but we weren't the ones who lost the most. That would be his family. We each remain locked inside our own thoughts, not another word passing between us. Eventually, Smollett appears. Bleh. Skip. I already know what happens. I believe we should go.
I believe you.
Bamil's reply is firm. His steadfastness seems almost weak in comparison to his certainty. The addresses
We shouldn't waste more time.
addresses the
Let's
guide.
shove off.
The guide slowly turns around, even with a nod to show his agreement. Margaret stares at Bamil and me, something of a resolve in her gaze. Then she follows after the guide. At least she didn't insist we stay behind.
We should do what we can to protect her. It's our fault she's being put in even further danger.
I already heard this. I admire her resilience, whatever. It's comforting to know that everyone here is so confident in their abilities, not enough to forget how terrible it is to be over this lake. I am not sure if that is fortunate or unfortunate. Believing yourself to be secure doesn't mean that you are. As the conversation lulls, a new sound breaks through. It's the whispering noise again. It's the chatter of inhuman voices, and this time coming from all around us.
Taking care of yourself is exactly what you need to do.
The guide is speaking again, except louder, as if to cover the Nixie's voice with his own.
Work to survive at all costs, and hope that
Yeah. Okay, place my hand over his, nod seriously. Yep. Bamil's face hardens in return. He moves his free arm down. I fully link his arm with mine, and now properly settled, look forward. Margaret is following the guide with some reluctance, turning back every so often to check on us. I wave my lantern to signal we're catching up. Yeah, this thingy is apparently, like, following us. Just so you know. These are the little creatures in the lake. Margaret returns her head to the front and quickens her pace. With a tug on Bamil, we start to follow them. So he's at the back, I think. The four of us continue cautiously over the bridges, only this time it's wet. It's moist. Only this time the wet, squishing footsteps of the prowler join the sound of our own. The prowler walks without a set pattern, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. It takes long steps and then short ones. At times it stops walking entirely. Does it hurt to be out of the water like this, or is it trying to be difficult to read? Suddenly, the whispering in the lake grows louder. I steel myself, trying not to let it get to me. The most important thing in a situation like this is to remain calm. I can't lose my head. Then all at once I notice the guide and Margaret have come to a halt.
Emily, they're stopping.
Emily. Bamil slows down as I do, and as we near Margaret's back, she says with something akin to distress.
There's another one.
I tug on Bamil and he understands. We draw up close to Margaret, ready to protect her. Yep.
don't get any closer.
Yep. white liquor dripping out of his eyes.
Give me a lantern.
And you'll throw it. Yep, skip this. I don't notice how tense I am until Bemil uses my grasp on his arm. Then suddenly the guide takes multiple long, fast strides forward, throws a lantern, and jumps backward to regain the lost distance. There's a sharp hiss and then a deep splash, and the voices of the Nixie grow quieter. Not silent, but quieter. A sigh escapes me, and the guide comes back to our group.
We should keep going before it comes back.
I glance at Bemil and realize he too is looking relieved at the guide before us. And then I see it. Ah! The first prowler. It's still there. It's right there. Pull Bemil forward. Yep. I shift around, pulling Bemil behind me. The prowler lunges after him, barely missing Bemil. Strike my lantern instead. The fire goes out, and the two of us are plunged into the earthly darkness. In this slick splash, I realize that the Nyx retreated into the water. Somehow Bemil and I are standing.
Kika.
Thank you. Yep. Okay, whatever. Oh, kick it off. Get out of here. It grabbed my leg. I kick the leg out as fast as I can. The Nyx hold slips. I can pull with the momentum I've gained against it. Margaret rushes to my side, her lantern hanging out towards the Nyx. The light brushes its face. We see it for an instant, its eyes wide, and then it slides back into the smooth surface of the water. Chill. Basically just talk about shit. The current format has worked so far. I'd like to move up, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna move back up. Last time I stayed behind. Margaret stands slightly off to the side and lets us pass, careful not to get too close to the water's edge.
Thank you kindly, Margaret.
I nod to her. Bemil and I position ourselves a few feet away from the guide, and in no time we've fallen into a step of our new positions. Okay, so now he's in front of the girl, the chick's behind him, I'm in front of him, and the guide's in front of me.
I don't want
so I'm
to
in the
sound
front.
like a child, but how much longer until we arrive?
Margaret chuckles, reflecting amusement.
We still have some ways to go.
Damn.
I suppress my laughter.
The first trial tends to be the most difficult.
I like the way you think.
Aha.
I think Kika deserves a round of applause.
Yep.
It was indeed a sight. You're quite capable.
Yeah, so basically, I pulled him away from the monster thingy, and then the monster grabbed my leg, and then I kicked the monster in the face or something, and then she helped me get rid of it. I'm glad Fortnite's being shut down for not making money anymore. Fuck Fortnite. Fortnite's trash. Anyway, yeah, basically that happened. It's strange in the middle watching over the guide. Until now, I didn't notice how smooth his movements are. There is a sense of grace to his actions, even in the basic task of walking down a bridge. I have to actively stop myself from being distracted by it. Suddenly, I notice the guide seems to be getting further away from us. He's speeding up. I do the same to match his pace and end up moving at a light jog.
Why are we going faster?
He doesn't reply, doesn't even look back at me. Instead, his speed almost doubles. Okay, yeah. I glance backward. Might keeping up with us. I can't skip it. The guide keeps moving faster and faster until finally we're at an all-out sprint. Figures in the dark fog fly past us at a blur, and it occurs to me the branching paths in the bridge appear to be sinking. I swallow my rising panic. The guide shouts something, but it's drowned out by the frantic pounding of our footsteps. I'm trying to piece together what he said. Don't stop, turn. When he takes a masterful sharp right down a different path using his own momentum and the sleek wood to slide into a new direction with no loss of speed. Despite the sudden turn, my reflexes enable me to keep close behind him.
We're making a right!
Bemil is on my heels. Following me to the turn, I glance back once more. Margaret, although further behind than before, also makes a turn. We're all still together. As the night wears on, our strength rapidly fades. Yeah, your stamina is being challenged. It's good to stop.
Why did we stop?
Emil's voice is tired, but his guard's up. The guy doesn't answer, just stares at something slightly out of view. I step in to join him, following the gaze further down the path. Oh, it's this kid. They're curled up in a little ball, illuminated by a lantern, cow's person.
It's a man.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, basically, yeah. No, we can't just leave him here, blah, blah, blah,
He
blah.
won't make it regardless. Whoever shelters him will only risk dragging themselves down with.
Last time we left him and it was just
If
like
the
whatever,
man
and he
comes,
died.
Then whoever I didn't agree to lead this man, and I.
Whatever. Adrenaline surges my veins and I test up. Margaret. Bleh.
Are you well, stranger?
Exactly. Something.
Oh no. Sounds like you've been talking with.
Sounds like you've been talking with my father. And begins down the path we came.
That's not even the right way.
It could be, if he's trying to get to the side we came from.
He must have come quite a ways if it was the other shore that he's...
The man
Good.
smells gross, good, it's not so bad. There's no sprouts.
I still think he should come with us. A person needs.
Yeah.
It's easy for you to say such things. It's not mine, and you.
Perhaps I could have let him share my light.
Can I skip this? Put out a hand, stop him. Yeah. I straighten my arm out like a rod, blocking his progress past me. He stops perplexed.
I am not afraid to stay behind, as long as Bemele can remain up front with you in your light.
The guy doesn't say anything, doesn't even blink. Margaret covers her mouth with her hand, muffling some sort of gasp. Bemele smiles sadly at me.
One can always count on you, Kika.
The man, meanwhile, stands with his mouth agape, truly and genuinely shocked.
Well, what will it be?
Margaret sputters for a second, searching for words, but clearly unaware of what to say. Bemele chimes in before she can get anything audible out.
I can stay in between you and the guide. I don't need to be right next to either of you. That way you won't have to worry about a repeat of what happened earlier.
I wouldn't refuse you being here.
The guy doesn't acknowledge them. He stares at the stranger. The man shakes under the attention.
No, really. I could just go on my own.
It's not fine, you'll die. I step closer to him, lending the support he seems to desperately
You
need.
do not need to go this alone. I will protect you.
The man stares at me. I return his gaze, willing him to see my uncertainty. There need be no blood spilt tonight. Slowly, the fear melts off of his face, replaced with something like resignation. Then he drops his gaze to the floor.
Okay.
Okay. Alright. I grasp his shoulder and turn to the rest of the group.
You should get a head start, correct? You'll have to put some distance between us.
No! No, we don't have to do that.
Yes.
Yes, we do. Shut up. Unnervingly, there's a hint of an emotion in the guide's usually empty voice, anger. He starts to walk, not waiting for a reply. Yeah. Margaret grits her teeth, eyes filling with tears, face flushed. She mumbles something in a small voice, something I'm just near enough to hear.
Why am I always so powerless?
Aw. Poor her. The statement catches me somewhat off guard. Margaret powerless? She's not a mercenary, to be sure, but she seems so uncertain of herself. Then again, I don't know the reason she needs to cross this lake. Before I can decide whether I should respond, the tears fade from her eyes. Margaret takes a deep breath.
Please be careful.
Yep. She takes a few steps back, lingering enough for Bemele. Bamil smiles first at the stranger and then at me.
Take care back here, alright? We'll all be together again when we reach the halfway island. It won't be too much longer now. We'll have a nice little camp out, and you can properly introduce yourself to us. Maybe even tell a real joke or two.
The man emits a nervous little laugh and ducks his head. The prospect must not be enticing to him. With the stranger having pulled himself out of the conversation, Bamil looks seriously at me.
I'm sorry to put you in even more.
Stop.
Bamil shakes his head, still smiling.
I don't begrudge you at all. In fact, I'm glad you did. All I want is for you to remember that goal. Each of us, together, on the island, and then on the other shore, safe. This isn't about what our job is, or where other people need us to be.
I nod in response. Bamil opens his mouth and closes it. He swallows hard.
You too.
I'm surprised to hear his voice wavering slightly. He swallows again, then continues.
You two should look out for each other.
No, someone is butthurt that he can't be with her. He takes a few steps back, as if to go, but his eyes don't leave mine.
Watch out for yourself, too. Not just for everyone else.
I will.
Yep. The guide's figure disappears, with only his lantern to lead the way. Bamil and Margaret are finally forced to leave us behind and catch up with him. I watch them disappear into the fog, an odd feeling in the pit of my stomach. I cannot recall the last time I had difficulty seeing someone leave.
You should go after them.
I almost forget the man was there, standing right next to me. Now he looks at me with desperate eyes.
You don't need to do this.
What?
I'd rather know you returned to them safe, and that you all had a chance to make it back together. The way they acted. Having to go on without you. No one would feel that way for me. I'm not worth it.
Aw.
That's not...
I stop, unable to say the last word. Can I claim that he's wrong? This is the one thing he has seemed sure of, and I do not know him. Empty platitudes, or platitudes? That sounds weird. Maybe worse than nothing at all. Oh, what? I did not click that. He smirks at my mumbling reply. I'm caught off guard by the change, with only that it seems he's in his element. Also, Halloween is over, the spook of times is over, but that does not mean that our games and our horror has come to an end. 'Cause we will be doing horror games all the time. Yeah. We'll be doing horror games and stuff and videos and, live streams, whatever. Also, I know that people have seen it before, but I'm going to be recording or doing a live stream, depends on what you guys want to do, of the DLC, Whistleblower DLC for Outlast. If people don't know what Outlast is, it's basically an asylum runaround game where you're in a creepy asylum with creepy people, and you gotta stay alive, and you record everything for proof that you're not crazy. But yeah, that will be coming in the near or, far future. Depends on what you guys want. Okay. He smirks at my mumbling reply. I'm caught off guard by the change, with only that it seems like he's in his element.
It's true.
Yep. He continues to grin, more so to himself than me.
You lot certainly made a scene, huh? That's nice. Being loved and all.
No. He clarifies after. I'm already getting tired. He clarifies after I must have given an undesired reaction to the statement. I am so disconnected with myself, I am unsure if surprise appeared on my face, or if it was a lack of emotion that put himself off.
I don't know exactly what kind of love it is you share, but there has to be a bond in that group of yours.
He laughs and then speaks quietly.
Doesn't matter. I can still try for the other shore. Go.
No! My certainty shocks him. I can tell immediately he has returned to his meeker self. The man starts to speak again, but I interrupt.
We should start walking. That should be enough of a head start for them.
Yeah, bro, we gotta go. He hesitates a moment, but ultimately begins walking at my side. I'm relieved. I can never be quite sure what will come from this one. We move in silence. The man doesn't seem to want to speak anymore, but he keeps glancing at me, as if expecting something. Somehow his odd behavior is comforting rather than disconcerting. Perhaps it's because he's more nervous about all this than I am. It's putting me at ease, making me feel more capable. I shouldn't allow myself to get comfortable, however. We're in a more dangerous position than ever. The whispering from the lake, so faint after Bemil's close call, now surges forth. It grows nigh, unbearable. The creatures teeming below the surface. I dare not speculate on what has got them so excited.
Have
My
you
leg
a
itches.
name?
The man chuckles drilly.
Barely.
Drilly.
I don't really know what I am to take from that.
His name's Barely. This time his laugh is more of a bark. He's a furry! Quickly out and swallowed back up. And then he frowns.
Lou. Only 2 letters. So barely.
I see.
Okay,
What are
Lil.
you doing out here without the guide?
Did that just move forward? Guys, we gotta get moving. Stop talking. What are you doing out here with that guide? Perhaps the question isn't appropriate to ask. After all, only the darkest of circumstances spurs someone to cross Sinlos. But this situation is very strange. I might even go so far as to say it's suspicious. I know that's not fair, but I can't help it. Years spent anticipating danger have made me wary.
That's a good question. I'm not sure I know myself.
What does that mean? Is that some sort of joke too? Or do you genuinely not remember how you arrived where you are?
No, it wasn't a joke. Or, well, there is a point to it all.
Okay, then what is that? Then his voice, already by nature light and airy, drops to a whisper.
But I don't know why I even tried. You'd think that I'd be able to call a spade already, right?
He looks up, noticing my gaze still leveled at him. Then he shrugs.
I'd rather not talk about it.
Secret boy. As what has become the norm, I don't fully understand what he means, but I can at least guess that he's not very happy with himself at present. And like it or not, he won't be sharing his real reasons with me.
What about you? What brings you out on this little adventure?
People. On the other side. People who need my help.
You have someone waiting on you? Then why are you risking yourself on me instead of worrying about what's going to happen to them?
I feel my brows furrow from my speck of alarm. Is that really what he took from this? I survey his face with a flick of my eyes, but there is no mischievous gleam to his look now. He's serious. We hold eye contact for a moment until he yet again stares down at the ground.
Sorry. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. It just fell out somehow. I wasn't thinking.
I got angry earlier, well, not earlier, but yesterday at homework, and I threw my keyboard. Turns out I put a hairline fracture through the whole keyboard, like from here, and then here to here. Well, rip keyboard. It's pretty light. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, yeah, you're important as well. He stares. He stares. His stare shoots back up at me, eyes wide.
Of course I'm going to be there for those counting on me. But you aren't nothing.
He smiles sadly, the kind of smile only someone who has experienced great hardship has. A smile I'm all too familiar with.
I probably have to disagree. Still, that's nice of you to say.
My neck hurts.
We may not know each other well, but you wanted us to go on without you for our own safety. You even tried to have a sense of humor about it. That counts for something.
It sure does. My statement is far from grand, yet he becomes distinctly bashful all of a sudden, twitching his legs with each step. He hangs his head and mumbles his next phrase. Sadly, he seems unaccustomed to receiving praise.
That's true. Thank you for staying back with me. It's kind of nice.
No need to thank me.
Oh, right. I can't even show gratitude correctly. Of course.
I go to give him a look, but he's smiling. He looks less pitiful than usual. He almost seems content. While crossing Sinlos? How? Why?
It is not funny to make a joke out of thinking that way about yourself.
If you don't want people to say things like that, then you shouldn't reject their things. Either I did right by
Yeet!
thanking you, or I did wrong.
Fine. You're welcome.
This time, he lets out a real laugh, though a short one.
I'm glad.
He stretches his arms out in front of him and elongates his strides so he's walking a bit ahead of me. He sits wrong with me. He's relaxed and completely unguarded. He's even fine with distancing himself from the light and all the odd comments he has said so far. Then a thought strikes me. Maybe the reason he's so calm is that he doesn't care what happens to him. My heart plummets into my gut. For a time, there is relative peace in the silence between us. Then Lou sighs heavily.
I never could have seen myself in a situation like this. It seems things really aren't over until they're over.
Did you think it was over?
He doesn't answer immediately. When he does, the reply is accompanied by him grasping himself, like he might fall apart if he lets go.
Yeah, I did.
That would have been the normal outcome for his situation. Alone, lightless. I shouldn't have asked. I must have let a frown slip through because Lou smiles a non-smile. He stretches his hand behind his neck and gives a little chuckle.
Something really is wrong with me.
What's
Somehow,
up, Undead? How you doing?
I feel lighter.
Alright, well, maybe this is good. If he's feeling better than he was, then perhaps his view of himself will improve.
I wonder who'll still be left standing when this is truly all over.
What?
Everyone will be.
I say it firmly, to end the discussion, but Lou's expression grows grave and unusually sympathetic.
You know that's not possible, don't you? Someone will go. You should focus on making sure it's someone else.
You don't seem to be concerned with self-preservation.
That came out more hostile than I had expected. He doesn't mind it.
True, but it's not the same for me.
I still don't know how I'm supposed to interact with a person like him. Making conversation is already not a strength I possess. Regardless, Lou echoing that sentiment was not something I had expected. I feel like I'm drunk. Trying to read. The whispers from the lake had already grown. Now speak faster and clearer. The individual words are almost audible. I'd like to be able to make them out if I knew the Nyx language. For a split second, I wish I did. The light in the distance still drifts along in the same manner as it did when we first started walking, which I take to mean the path hasn't turned so far. Hopefully that means we're still on the right path. But the light, it got brighter. It's strong enough. Oh, that is brighter. It's strong enough that I have to glance away for a second, and then, and the next time I look, the light has grown. The bridge is on fire. I grab Lou's arm without thinking. He's standing there stiff, staring at the glow, his eyes dull.
We're going to run.
The hell with the guide's order. If we don't go now, we will never go anywhere again. Lou doesn't respond. I give his arm a small tug, and he appears to come to himself when he nods at me. I make the decision, then, that I won't let go of his arm. I don't know what'll happen to him if I do. We take off, the heat growing with each step. The dankness of the bridge means the fire is spreading slowly, but it makes me question how it began in the first place. There is no end to now. Wrong this place is. It takes 20 paces before the air around us ripples, then starts folding into itself. Thick smoke pours over us, stinging like scorpions at my eyes. I cover my mouth with my free arm to keep breathing, and soon we are at the fire itself. The bridge lurches beneath us as if the beams supporting it are starting to give way to the thousands of flying sparks. Lou stumbles and pulls against me for support, but we keep our ground. I start pulling him through the blaze. We don't have time to gather our bearings. Who knows how long we have until the bridge collapses or is devoured by flames. As we push through the smoke, Lou, wheezing for breath beside me, figures emerge. Bamil and Margaret. Hello. I look at the two and the situation around them, baffled. None of the individual pieces make any sense, until the reality of it hits me all at once. The guide is gone. Margaret paused at the bridge. Her lantern is at her side. It's her glasses she's missing. Bamil is off to the other side, lanternless, with only the flickering embers in the wind to keep him out of the darkness. I want to pretend that they're both fine, but they'll be capable of handling themselves, but I know that's just wishful thinking. Both of them are in danger. I don't know how the Nixie feel about fire, how daring they'll be with it so close by, but I can't assume this is an opportunity they would want to miss. I have to do something, and I have to do it now. Go to Bamil's side, go to Margaret's side. I'm gonna go to Margaret first because she's like in the most need. Without wasting another second, I run to Margaret's side, Lou in tow. I'm the one who put her in danger and she needs me. I have to be there for her.
Margaret!
Margaret's head shoots up, eyes squinting through the smoke. Tears and ribbons gleam down her face. Tears like ribbons gleam down her face. Whether they're because of smoke or panic, I don't know. I'm nearly at her side when a shout goes up from the other end of the bridge. Fuck! A chunk of the bridge near Bamil has vanished, collapsed into the water, and in its place are Nixie, trying to crawl their way up. Bamil is backing away from them, but that's only pushing him closer to the other edge. I check on Margaret again. She's on her feet and heading over to me, but she's standing now, and she has her lantern to keep those monsters at bay. I leave her running to get my light to Bamil. Bamil's stopped in the perfect center of the bridge, unable now to move forward or back. Instead, he turns to me, face pained in a way I've never seen from him. All he can do is wait for me to come and hope it's soon enough. But as I approach, so does a Nyx larger than I knew they could be. It pulls itself halfway out of the water, reaching for Bamil. And it grabs him. It latches his arms around his torso. Bamil lets out an agonized scream, the Nyx claws anchoring into his flesh. Well, fuck, he's dead. And the creature lets itself fall into the lake, using its body weight to take Bamil with it. I run faster, reaching my lantern out to him. Bamil doesn't reach back. This dude's dead. He just looks at me.
Don't!
He falls backward into the lake. The Nyx wait too much for him to resist. After a moment, the water stills. There's no sign of him. I stop panting, still feet away from where Bamil fell. Tears burn my eyes. Well, last time Margaret died, so fuck Bamil to this time. I can't even pronounce your name right.
He can't be gone.
Yes, he is. Now shut up. Something tugs on my arm. I panic, but it's Margaret. I gape at her. I can barely keep myself together.
What happened to the guide? Is he also?
My voice cracks in spite of myself. I don't know what I don't know that I want to hear the answer, but it has to be said.
No, I don't think so. I couldn't see through the smoke and without my glasses, but I didn't hear anything.
How did this happen?
While we were running through the fire, the bridge shook. It knocked my glasses off. I bent down to pick them up. There were footsteps. Someone kept going, and then Bamele asked if I was all right.
Bamele. Lemonade. The tears return to her, and she wipes her nose on her sleeve. Ew. That's gross.
He said he'd stay to keep watch while I couldn't see.
That sounds like Bamele.
I'm so sorry.
I don't say anything in response. I can't. The bridge trembles again, and I gather my wits just enough to get through this.
We need to leave. Which way did the guide go?
It sounded like he just went forward, and then I couldn't hear him anymore.
That will work. Lou?
I look around for him, realizing he's not with me any longer. At some point, I let go of his arm. He's standing to the side, gaze glazed, transfixed on the darkness. He seems completely unaware of everything that's happened. The fire, the Nixie, the death. I step forward and yank him back to my side. Ugh.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? He flinches at the unexpected contact and looks attentively at me, but he doesn't offer any explanation.
I'm sorry.
That is all he ever says. I let go of him.
Both of you stay close. We are not going to separate again.
We keep going, we keep down the path. We keep down the path, the flames still gradually gnawing on the planks behind us. The guide doesn't turn up, nor do any signs of him, but we push on. We will not stop moving. Then we do. The bridge comes to a dead end of rotted out boards collapsed into the lake. For a moment, our breathing stops at once. If this was the way that led to the island, then I flip back to face the others, my expression unaffected. I'm not going to allow panic to sap this group of judgment.
Let's look for another bridge.
I got dill pickle chips. I resolutely begin retracing our path. The others follow without protest. Our regression is silent except for our footfalls and the sapping of soggy wood attempting to burn. We frequently have to step over smoldering sections trying to come alight. At one point, we even have to walk one at a time, sideways to avoid a wildly flickering small fire billowing out black smoke. Just as my spirit is beginning to dim, we come across different directions to take. Among all the forks, there are only two that aren't collapsed, or too consumed by fire to risk following.
We're lost.
Self-voicing enabled. Her voice is scarcely more than a whisper. I barely make it out over the sound of crackling flames and splintering wood.
I didn't mean to do that.
Lou's gaze is flicking down either path. There's a palpable sense of anxiety coming from him.
I don't know.
But now I can eat.
I don't know which way.
It's alright.
But it's not alright. We have to have something to go off of. Anything at all. A cold sweat trickles its way down my back. Before anyone tries to randomly choose, a noise catches my attention. I hastily address the two.
I don't know why this is funnier to me.
Did you hear that?
It sounded like a whistle.
It came from the right.
Lou and I trade looks. This could be the signal we need, but what if it isn't?
Do those monsters know how to whistle?
I would assume not, but...
We should go right, I think, to where the sound came from.
I'm a little surprised Lou is offering his own opinion.
I don't know
It is
why
good
that
to hear,
voice is
however.
funny.
I take a deep breath.
I agree. There's more of a chance the whistle was a sign for good over ill.
Our course decided, we move as one down the right path, no longer hesitating. As we follow the bridge down, there is no sign of the end. There's no need to debate between directions again. We start to outpace the fire, one danger thankfully fading away, but the night continues to lighten, regardless. I glance at the sky and realize what's happening. The sun is rising. The bridges will sink into the water as the darkness disappears and take us with them.
Oh, I forgot about that.
We'll be lost. It suddenly seems pointless. We don't even know whether we've gone the right way, and we still haven't caught up to the guide. We can't outswim the Nixie, and we can't outrun the dawn. We're going to run out of time. Yet, we keep moving forward. And finally our perseverance is rewarded. The silhouette of an island rises in the distance.
Damn.
The island grows rapidly larger, and soon the scents of earth and trees reach us. In spite of all the horrors of this night, a dock emerges from the fog before us, welcoming us to safety.
Hurry!
We reach the shore. I don't believe it until I've stepped off the wood and my boot sinks into the sand. I walk further inland like a corpse, my sole instinct to flee from the water line. My hazy eyes single in on something ahead. The guide stands on an outcropping in the distance, watching like a sentinel. He doesn't even come to greet us. I stare at him for a moment, not even able to feel alarmed at my own lack of feelings about the situation. He uses his staff to gesture to the forest behind him before disappearing between the trees. I can only assume he must be asking me to follow. The guide takes us further inland, more towards the center. There's a view of the coastline from here, but we're also partially obscured by a few trees.
It's time to sleep.
No one has the energy to argue with him at this moment. I find a place as comfortable as one could ask for in a location like this, next to one of the trees further out, and lay down, trying to block out my thoughts. For once, exhaustion is my ally, and I slip off into sleep. My eyes slowly blink open and readjust to the brightness, what little there is. The sun is obscured by a thick layer of fog, making it impossible to estimate the time of day. I prop up my elbows and push myself up. The ground is hard and rocky, but that isn't the only reason I am eager to get on my feet. I check my surroundings. The harsh, craggy earth of the island is interlaced with twisting vines and gnarled branches. Beside me, Margaret and Lou are still fast asleep. The guide, however, is nowhere to be seen. I realize that I don't recall seeing him lay down with everyone. It's likely he left us hours ago. There is a creeping silence here. I can't help but shudder at the hollow, aching feeling inside of me. It refuses to relent. I shift my weight back and forth, unsure of what to do with myself. Memories of last night's harrowing journey flicker through my mind. I notice the others begin to stir. Margaret accidentally knocks Lou as she gets up, awakening him as well. My mouth opens, then shuts, and after a moment of fumbling, a word finally escapes.
Hello.
Really? Not good morning? Hello?
Hello to you.
Margaret greets me as she rubs her eyes. It seems to be due to trouble adjusting to not having her glasses rather than grogginess. Behind her, Lou remains on the ground.
We should eat something soon.
I got the pickle chips. You want some? Also, let me know if you want me to read it instead, or if you want the automatic voice to read it.
On this island, so I'll have to split my supplies with Lou.
I know I'm not the best reader.
I admit, for a trip of this length, I could only manage to carry the minimum, so I don't have much to share. However, you shouldn't be the only one who gives something up.
Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm not hungry.
Lou's back is turned against us. He still hasn't gotten up out of the dirt.
You won't make it very far if you don't have something to eat.
Lou buries his head deeper into his knees as he curls into a tighter ball.
No thanks.
I wonder when the last time he ate even was. Considering where we found him, he could have been out over Sinlos for more than a day. Yet, he has nothing with him.
I'm concerned about that as well. But I know it can be difficult to force yourself to eat after something traumatic, and I'm afraid I'm not very skilled at encouraging others.
There's a stinging sensation inside of me. That was not something I ever needed to do because he was there. Margaret and I both frown. A distinct rustling of the leaves around catches my attention. The guide appears, emerging from the thicket. Margaret seems to be a little uncomfortable at his return. Lou doesn't notice. The guide nears us and begins to speak.
The Nixie will not tread on land in daylight. However, being near the shoreline is still dangerous. If you leave the center of the island, remain cautious. Before the sun sets, I will be in this area. It would be wise to meet me here before nightfall.
And just what needs to be done over in those woods that cannot be done in the brush here with the rest of us?
Despite Margaret's pointed question, the guide considers his piece here finished. He turns around and returns to the forested area from which he came. Beside me, Margaret releases a sigh.
Are you alright?
No, I'm not. Nothing is alright. It will never get any better.
Margaret sucks in a breath as she starts to get emotional. Before it can spill out of her, she turns on her heels and walks off in a direction different than the guide's. I don't try to stop her. Lou meekly calls to me.
I wouldn't stop her either.
I turn around to face him, though I don't speak. He's standing some distance away. He fidgets and glances over to the side, before returning his gaze to my eyes. He gestures for me to come closer. I comply. He begins to whisper at me, but he fumbles with his words and I can't make out anything he says. I look at him inquisitively. Finally, he speaks up enough to be clear.
I'm sorry for what happened last night.
He speaks quickly as he looks up at me, eyes filled with sorrow. He shifts his focus downwards.
Oops. Accidentally clicked it.
It's not your fault.
My words come out hollow and empty. I mean what I say, but cannot find the energy to make it seem convincing.
It was closer to being my fault than anyone else's. I wasn't supposed to be here, and all I did was get in the way. The guide was right about me. I knew from the beginning that it would be like this too. I never should have stayed.
Finishing his thought, he sniffles as he turns away. Suddenly I feel a strong surge of emotions rip through me. Everything is falling apart and I do not have the power to change this. Quietly, I speak.
Leave me alone. It's Margaret. Lou, wait. Lou, wait.
Lou stops moving. He doesn't turn to face me.
Forget Margaret.
I hesitate as well, also unsure of how to proceed.
Would you be willing to speak with me?
He turns around to face me, and his eyes are brimming with tears. He smiles slightly.
I could do that.
I find the will to smile lightly back at him. Lou
That's a
walks
light
closer
smile.
to me, then pauses. After watching me for a moment, he turns his eyes to the ground, waiting for me to do something. I just stare at him, unsure. After a brief silence, I finally sigh.
Lou, can I ask you a difficult question?
He flinches.
I don't think I'm the person you want to ask difficult questions.
No one else can answer this one. It's about you.
Oh, in that case, I'm really not the kind of person to give good answers.
By his tone, it seems like he's trying to make light of the situation. But to me it still just sounds sad.
I understand.
He squeezes his eyes shut and gives no reply. Despite being clearly frustrated, it doesn't look like it's me he's upset with. Soon he reopens his eyes, looking directly at me.
You can ask me anything. I'll try to answer. But I hope you have a lot of patience.
He smiles slightly.
Thank you.
So, what do you want to know?
Are you single?
Have you
Are you gay?
lost someone in the lake?
Lou stumbles back a step from shock.
I'm sorry for prying, but when we found you, it seemed like you were apologizing to someone. And the way you've acted since makes me think that something is wrong. Something beyond even being out on Sinlos.
I give him a sympathetic look. Why am I even asking him this question? Do I really want to help him, or am I trying to forget what happened to us by talking about someone else's misfortune?
Possibly.
When Lou speaks, his voice is barely above a whisper.
I hate myself. I can't do anything.
So he did.
You don't have to say anymore. I was wrong to ask you about it.
His brows are furrowed, and he smiles in a self-deprecating way.
I'm sorry.
Lou laughs sharply at himself.
Don't be. I'm not worth the concern.
How can you say that?
Fucking emo.
What have you done that was wrong in this moment? It was only my mistake.
You think that because you don't know.
I do not believe you.
Lou's eyes bore into me.
I'm not upset because I lost someone out here. I'm upset because I can't bring myself to lie about it.
What?
Huh?
You gave me the perfect opportunity to cover up the pathetic truth of what actually happened. All I had to do was go along with your assumption. But when you're so direct, I can't keep my thoughts hidden. I'm too afraid of making a mistake and having the lie uncovered somehow.
He stares back at the ground and sighs.
Why do I have to be so terrible at this?
Bewilderment rings through my mind, one ear to the other. His words stir
I'm
all
confused.
sorts of baffling jumbled emotions in me that battle it out for supremacy as I gawk. Lou is, I don't know. Without looking up,
Same.
Lou shakes his head.
I don't know at this point.
See? You shouldn't waste your sympathies on someone like me. You should have left me to die.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be as entertaining then.
Like a shot, my anger flares up.
Pull yourself together. I didn't leave you behind before, and I'm not going to do so now. The best thing you can do to help is put those kinds of thoughts in the back of your mind.
Or what? I won't make it to the other side?
Lou laughs bitterly, his smile almost cruel.
If I thought joining you was a way to stay alive, I would have acted much differently. The only reason I came along is because I thought it might be nice to not die alone and forgotten.
My words sputter and die on my tongue. Lou continues his speech, ignoring my reaction.
The guide really didn't know what he was saying before. I asked him if I could go out on the bridges in the past. He told me not to. Said I couldn't handle it. I'm not sorry for ignoring the warning. This was something I had to do. This was my only chance to prove I'm not worthless, or to finally accept that I was once and for all. And we know what the truth is.
Stop.
I can no longer keep idly listening to him speak.
It doesn't have to be this way. You said yourself that it isn't over until it's completely over. There's still a possibility that...
No, there isn't.
My blood pounds in my veins. Instinctively, I place both my hands on his tightly wrapped upper arms.
I don't know what has happened to you, but if there's something you need to do, you can try again tomorrow night. You don't need to give up. You have value.
Lou closes his eyes again and smiles to himself. I maintain my grip on him, waiting for his response.
Alright. I'll try to stay alive if you'll do something for me.
I did not mean to drop that chip on me.
What is it?
Yeah.
Don't put yourself in danger for my sake anymore.
My fingers curl harder around his thin arms, wishing I could argue further. But I don't know what is going on in his head, and I might push him back into giving up. I don't have the luxury of trying to reach him a second time. I release him and take a step back.
Fine. I'll accept those terms.
Good. Now you might survive.
You need to survive too.
He laughs.
It goes without saying.
Lou smiles teasingly. His attitude is still difficult for me to grasp, but I attempt to smile in return.
Thank you for caring about me, say
Saying,
nothing.
thank you for caring
I know
about
you don't
me.
want anything to happen to anyone else. That is admirable.
Lou says nothing, however I do feel my words reached him. I wish he would let me help him, but I cannot find a way to do so. I can only trust that he will do his best to take care of himself now. It's better than him planning to let it end. I sigh wearily, and yet somehow feel as though my resolve has been strengthened. At least for now.
I'm going to head out. I want to see how everything is on the island.
I'll make it easier by coming along. Then you won't ever have to check on me.
This time I am able to smile easily.
That would be good.
Happy to help.
He readily moves beside me, and together we move out. Lou and I head through the wooded part of the island. There isn't anything that could be called a path, but we manage to pick our way through the bush quite well. Through a thinner stand of trees we briefly catch sight of the guide standing on one of the beaches. He seems fine, but even though I'm sure he turned his head toward me, he makes no show of acknowledging us. We move on and eventually find Margaret in a jagged clearing. Margaret begrudgingly lifts her head as we approach, enabling me to see that her face is damp and tear-stained, while her eyes are red and puffy. She's been crying. I shift between my feet uncomfortably.
Is something the matter?
Margaret's glance moves to Lou. She laughs without humor.
Are you keeping an eye on the rest of us to make sure we don't get into trouble?
That's not it. Anything could happen, so it is good to stay alert even in daylight. Lou is here because he was also concerned.
Well, that's nice.
She speaks somewhat curtly, but at least she no longer seems as depressed.
Does this mean you don't have something to say?
Margaret shakes her head.
I'm happy to report that everything's in order on this front.
I'm glad.
Of course I cannot fully believe that. Margaret isn't saying what's actually on her mind, but I have no way to truly reach her.
Is that everything?
I suppose it is.
My words come out slowly and hesitantly, as though she might change her mind if I bide my time. I want to do more, but I cannot think of what else I could do for her.
Then goodbye.
If you need anything, we will be close by.
Yes, thank you. I'm sure I'll see you soon.
Her response is sincere. It is enough to ease some of my worry. I smile, though weakly. We leave her be and head off on our own.
It's good to know the others are well.
We have nothing to do with our time now. Even I can't ignore the wistful tone in my voice. Something is tugging at my heart, trying to tear a piece away. Lou seems uncomfortable with my lowering mood. He stares out into the woods rather than at me.
I think I'll go to the shore.
His words snap me
In about
back
10
hard
minutes,
to
if I
hard
haven't died
reality.
yet or ended the game, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there, because it's gonna be 1 a.m. and I'm tired. But yeah.
What? Why?
I saw something earlier that I'd like to check out.
The shoreline is dangerous. Whatever you saw could not be worth the risk.
Lou actually laughs, a sudden sound that's as close to snickering as it is to sputtering.
Watching a Nyx drag itself across the shore in the middle of the day would be worth the danger, in my opinion.
I give him a humorless, reprimanding look. I feel vaguely like I have used this face to dissuade pets and young children from behaving poorly in the past.
I was only joking.
Thankfully, it seems to work on grown men as well. I hope
still
he is
going,
telling
though.
the truth.
Don't worry.
For
I'll be
someone so
careful.
nervous he can be quite
We
reckless.
talked about this.
Sorry. I keep getting ahead of myself.
Self-voicing disabled.
Anyway, whatever. I'm gonna turn that off now. I'm still going though. Don't worry, I'll be careful. We talked about this. He gives me a self-effacing, lopsided smile.
You said you didn't want to make me watch out for you.
I'll be back soon. You won't even notice.
I sigh. Part of me wants to keep lecturing him on how serious this is. I just want him to be safe. But I fear I don't have the words to convey that without making the situation worse.
Fine.
Mark and I will come. I'll come. Mark and I will come. I'll come. I'll come. By myself.
Of course you can
You're
come.
cute.
I'd enjoy that.
I get the feeling that, he was hoping I would say that. It is not as though I don't want to be around him. The farthest thing from it. It's the activity itself that's the problem. Despite my reservations, we headed to the beach. Lou strides easily across the sand, his bare feet sinking down in the loose grains as he stretches his arms, I can't English.
It is so much
That
nicer
word.
out here.
It makes I moo. What is wrong with me? It's too late. That's what's wrong with me. I make sure to stay close behind him just in case. I wouldn't want him to go off on his own. Lou notices my position out of the corner of his eye. He isn't so distracted that he's forgotten I'm here, it seems. He takes a wide step back, so we are side by side instead. I can't help but be surprised by his assertiveness, and it makes me grin nervously.
You know what I mean, right?
Yes. The shore has its positives.
I find it hard to navigate the loose sand in my boots, but Lou has little trouble here. There are only a few ragged, pretty sure that's ragged, but if it's not, whatever. I can't English right now, I'm too tired. Bandages wrapped around his bare feet. I have to wonder how he has been faring thus far. The forest floor is rock hard and full of thorns. I've never seen that word before. Clandestinely? Check for any signs of bleeding. Thankfully, there are no traces of it. It also does not escape me that losing one's shoes is an uncommon occurrence. They must have been stolen, or he did not have any to begin with. Between my swirling thoughts and Lou's quiet self-assurance, we have walked in silence for a bit. This should be a good chance to ask questions about his life, where he comes from, what he does for work, if he has any other family. However, I cannot help but assume he would shrink away from such attention. Lou catches my gaze and inclines his head. A whisper of a smirk on his lips.
Is there anything on your mind? Something you'd like to ask me, maybe?
Oh.
Yes, I'm surprised you brought attention to it.
Lou snickers in a self-aware sort of way.
When you're as suspicious as I am, it's pretty easy to guess that people will have questions.
I smile faintly. His openness is certainly appreciated, but the look fades as quickly as it appeared. I turned away.
I think I've asked you enough questions.
Lou's expression sinks into melancholy. He holds my eyes in his own, tightly locked and refusing to let go. Then he speaks, unbidden.
I've done odd jobs most of my life. The only title you could say I've had is messenger boy.
He hangs his head in embarrassment over his achievements and begins to drift further away.
That is nothing to be ashamed of. Information is meaningless if it is not with those who can use it. There are far less honorable ways of making a living in this world.
I can think of some too. Some that I've done.
His words are mumbled, so it takes a moment for them to sink in. I'm not sure what to say, so I settle on closing some of the distance between us in an attempt to console him. Admittedly, I expected as much. His jitterness and defensive posture are typical of a petty criminal. I imagine he's had a tough life. A warmth between us melts the dark mood that was beginning to form. A teasingly crooked smile blooms on Lou's face as he relaxes again.
Thank you.
I didn't say anything.
That's what I'm grateful for.
At that, I am able to chuckle and give a bent grin in return.
It is no trouble.
Lou turns his head away bashfully and lifts his hand, steadily inching it towards me. My pulse starts to race. He lets it drop before he touches me. It is a relief as well as a disappointment. Once again, silence falls between us. Suddenly, Lou begins running forwards. There is nothing ahead of us. I'm completely caught off guard and left momentarily dumbfounded. I shout after him to come back, concern rising in my chest. He keeps up the pace, but turns his head back to look at me almost as if he's enjoying this. After a short sprint, he comes to a stop. As I reach him, he bends down carefully and picks up something off the sand. It's a strange, beautiful shell.
Isn't it amazing? I wonder if other lakes have shells like this.
I'm not able to stop myself from sighing.
I don't know. Is that what you were expecting to find?
It is. I like shells.
I like shells. That reminds me of Finding Dory.
The world is so dreary. Any flowers that bloom will wither and die in days without attention. I can't find a way to appreciate such fleeting things. It's only sad.
True. As he speaks, his voice descends into despair, dropping so low I almost don't make out what he says. I cannot think why this shell is impacting him so profoundly, but I want to comfort him. Somehow, regardless of if I can fully comprehend him.
Shells are beautiful and they can persevere. That is something I respect.
It is good you were able to find what you were searching for.
I think so too.
He lets himself remain lost in his moment for a second longer, then gently offers his meaningful shell to me.
Why don't you keep it? It can be a reminder of me.
I have no idea on what to say. Those words seem so harmless, and yet foreboding. Despite my silence, he continues to hold the shell out for me to take. Cautiously, I reach up to accept the gift, afraid that a wrong move could somehow hurt the shell or even him. When I have it, Lou places both his hands over my head and the shell.
Thank you for coming with me.
He continues to make it difficult to speak. It takes some effort to hide the bashfulness in my voice.
It was no trouble, Lou. Really. Thank you for this. However, even if you didn't give it to me, I would not forget you.
He looks happier than I've ever seen him as he presses his hands more tightly.
I'm so glad I met you.
Aww.
Likewise. I'm happy we crossed paths.
I hope that will never change. If you think of me from time to time, it would make this all worthwhile.
I'm glad. Even if it is more generous. For some reason, I read that as genuineness. Even if it was a more generous view of this than I would give, I relish his statement. Lou is finally showing some optimism towards life. I still am aware why Lou came here to begin with. I'm still unsure why Lou came here to begin with, but it eases my mind to think that he may not have to regret the choice. Lou pulls away, locking a door I barely peeked inside.
We can head back to the forest now.
Right. That is for the best since we still need to rest before sundown. We will take the smoothest route back to the clearing.
Do I look so fragile?
I'm not impressed with his attempt at humor, and look squarely at him as I speak, my voice completely deadpan.
Anyone would have trouble with no shoes.
I figured someone like you would say I needed to toughen up.
I shake my head fondly. His elusive way of speaking has grown on me somehow. Whatever.
Come on, we should go.
Okay. Together we return to the woods. In what feels like no time, we enter the clearing. Save. Wait. No. Maybe I can go back to that one. Okay. So that is it for this stream, guys. Thank you for the people that popped in and popped out. Thank you for the people that, stuck around. And thank you for the people that are watching this after I actually live stream it. But yeah. Sadly, I'm gonna have to put the, maturity thingy on, because of the beginning. Which I didn't know it was gonna be like that. Although, why did I think anything different of something that said you need to be 18 or older to enter? So yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you all for watching, and if you have a horror game that you want me to play, or have a horror video you want me to react to, or whatever, just let me know down in the comments below. We will still be doing some spooky stuff even though Spooktober is over with. So with that being said, stay frosty, my floofers, and have an awesome day. Happy Halloween, even though it's not Halloween anymore. And, yeah. We will see you all in the next video. Bye.